Hi, and welcome to Andorian's Guide to a PvE Retribution Paladin for patch 4.3. Okay, in part 1 of this guide, we're going to be looking at our spec, glyphs, gymming, enchanting, auras, seals, blessings, and stat priority. First off, let's go ahead and look at our spec. We're going to have 32 under Retribution, leaving out Guardian's Favor, Selfless Healer, and Acts of Sacrifice. Then we're going to have 2 under Protection with 2 in Seals of the Pure. We're going to move over to Holy, have 7 here with 2 in Arbiter of the Light, 3 in Judgments of the Pure, and 2 in Blazing Light. Okay, and that completes your spec here. Let's go ahead and look at our glyphs. Under our primes, we're going to have a Glyph of Templar's Verdict, which increases the damage of Templar's Verdict by 15%. Then we'll have Glyph of Exorcism, which your exorcism calls an additional 20% of its damage over 6 seconds. Then we have a Glyph of Seal of Truth, which your Glyph of Seal of Truth or Righteousness also grants 10 expertise while active. This is very, very important. I'll go over that here in a minute, while that is very important. Then we're going to move over to our majors. We're going to have a Glyph of Ascetic Crusader, which reduces the mana cost of Crusader Strike by 30%. Then we're going to have Glyph of Hammer of Wrath, which reduces the mana cost of Hammer of Wrath by 100%. Then we're going to have Glyph of Divine Plea, which your Divine Plea provides an additional 6% of your total mana. Now, on your third one here for the major glyphs, where I have my Divine Plea, you can do this any way you like. You could do a Glyph of Rebuke, which reduces the mana cost by 100%. You could do Glyph of Holy Wrath, which will also be able to stun elementals and dragonkin. It just all depends on you, what you want to do for that one there. It's however you want to do it. I do the Glyph of Divine Plea for the mana during boss fights and whatnot. Sometimes we need the mana. Okay, then we're going to have in our minors, it's just going to reduce the mana cost by 50% under all these, so I went with Glyph of Blessing of Might, Glyph of Blessing of Kings, and Glyph of Truth. Okay, that completes your glyph and spec there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our gymming real quick. Okay, under our gymming, we are going to look at our helm first. We're always going to have a Reverberating Shadow Spirit Diamond, which will give you 54 strength and 3% crit. Then we're going to have 50 strengths. Everything is always going to be strength for everything pretty much. Always just going to gym strength, just like I have here. As you can see, everything's strength. Okay, now let me talk about the importance of your socket bonus. Say you have a blue or yellow socket, but the socket bonus is only 10% strength, or plus 10 strength. So basically what I did here is I had a blue socket, and what I did was went with a 50 strength. Reason being is, if I went with a purple and said I gave it a 25 strength and 25 hit, I would only get 35 strength out of it altogether with a plus 10 socket or strength bonus. So basically I'd be losing 15 strength out of that altogether. So I just went ahead and went with a plus 50 strength to get the extra strength out of it. Now say you have a yellow or blue that gives you plus 30 strength. Okay, what I did, that's exactly what I did here. I went with an orange that gave me 25 strength and 25 mastery. And the second bonus was 30 strength, so I'm actually gaining plus 5 strength instead of just using a straight red gem. Okay, that's basically how your gymming is going to be all the way through for Retribution. Okay, now let's take a look at our enchants. Now our head enchant is going to come from the Dragon Ball clan, which is out of Twilight Highlands. You can get it in, I believe it's Blood Gulch. It's going to give you 60 strength and 35 mastery to a helms. And then we're going to go look at our shoulder here. This is going to come from Therazane in Deepholm. You'll get it from their throne room there. It's going to give you 50 strength and 25 crit. Your back is going to be a 65 critical strike. Your chest is going to be Peerless Stats, which is going to give you plus 20 to all stats. Your bracers are going to have 50 strength. Your hands are going to have 50 strength. Your legs are going to be plus 190 attack power and plus 55 crit. Your feet are going to be 50 mastery. And then your weapon is going to be landslide. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our sills here. We're going to have a seal glyph, seal of truth, which is what we're going to use at all times as a retribution. What this does is it fills us with holy power, which puts a censure on the target, which deals 2,928 damage over 14.43 seconds. It stacks up to 5 times, and once it does, our weapons also deal 17% additional holy damage, and this also grants us 10% expertise while active if you are glyphed into that. And I'll show you that here in a minute. Then we're going to move up to our Blessing of Kings. That's going to give you increased strength, agil, stam, and intellect by 5%, and all magical resistance by 97. Okay, then we're going to look at Blessing of Might. This is going to increase your melee attack power by 20%, ranged attack power by 10%, and restore 326 mana every 5 seconds. Okay, so what we want to use as Retribution is Blessing of Might. The only reason we wouldn't use it is if there was another pally that already used it, or we didn't have somebody to put Mark of the Wild or Blessing of Kings up. And then we had a hunter that would use True Shot. That's the only times you wouldn't use Blessing of Might, because that's the one we want to use at all times. So we usually want to use Blessing of Might and Seal of Truth at all times. Okay, let's look at our auras here. We have Devotion Aura, which will give you 4,076 armor. We have Resistance Aura, which will give you Fire, Frost, and Shadow Resist by 195. Concentration Aura, which reduces casting or channeling time while damaged by 35%. Retribution Aura, which does 121 holy damage to anyone who strikes you. And then we have Crusader Aura, which increases mounted speed by 20%. Okay, so basically what we're going to use at all times is either Devotion or Resistance. Only time we would not use either one of those would be if we had a shaman in the group that put the totems down for it. Then you would go with Concentration. Okay, let me talk about Retribution Aura. I think it's garbage. I don't know why they put it in there. I never use it whatsoever. It's just pointless if you ask me. There's no reason for Retribution Aura whatsoever. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our stats here. We're going to have, in our stat priority, is going to be Strength, then Hit, then Expertise, then Mastery, then Haste. Okay, that's your stat priority. Now let me tell you your caps. Your hit is going to be capped at 8%. This gives you a 0% chance to miss on an 88 level target, which is all your bosses. Now your expertise needs to be at 26%, which will give you a 0% chance for dodge and a 7% chance to parry. Okay, so you're going to be behind the boss pretty much at all times. You're never really going to be in front of the boss hitting them, so it doesn't matter. He can't really parry you from behind. Okay, so let me talk about the importance of this expertise here and why we have the Glyph of Seal of Truth. Now, the Glyph of Seal of Truth grants you 10% expertise while active. See, I have 27 here. Go ahead, take it off, close this out, and then open it back up and show you. See, now I only have 17 expertise. Okay, but when I put my Glyph of Seal of Truth on, I get an extra 10% or 10 expertise. So basically what this means here is I can take all of that expertise, reforge out of it down to 16 when the seal's not active, and reforge it right into Mastery. Mastery is very, very important for us. It increases our Templar's Verdict, Crusader Strike, and Divine Storm. Okay, by 41% additional damage. Now each point of mastery increases the damage by an additional 2.1%. Okay, so everything you have, under master or expertise is going to be reforged right into mastery to get to as high as you want to be in mastery, or as you can be rather. Now, that's why I say to glyph into that, because you can take all that expertise that you had to get to 26, and you only have to get it to 16, so that way you can reforge right into mastery, which does just shit tons of damage for us here. Basically, I say to reforge out of everything right into mastery. Crits, good, but it's not that important. See, mine's only at 10%, but mastery's here at 19.5. Haste is going to be your lowest stat of all every single time, and that you don't have to worry about that whatsoever, because when we judgment, we're going to get our haste buff off of that. So that's going to be your basic stat priority. Like I said, it's going to be strength, hit to 8%, expertise to 26, 16 if you're glyphed into the Seal of Truth, then mastery, then crit, then haste. Okay? Okay, that completes part 1 to my guide for Retribution Paladin in patch 4.3. Please be sure to go to part 2 for an in-depth guide to rotation and DPS. A link to part 2 will be in the description, and please subscribe to my channel for additional information. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.